just finished making a sort of tower defense style game in Godot, and I thought I'd give a quick walkthrough of how I did it, just in case it's helpful for anyone. So the theme for this little mini, it's not even a game jam, just like a game concept thing that I was participating in was the Gates of Hell. And I'm not normally into tower defense style games, but this one inspired me to make a tower defense style game. So what we have is, the actual gate, and we've got places for the tower to be placed. And the idea is, I'll just run the game. You get these little, oh, let me fix that. Uh, there we go. Okay, so the idea for the game is uh, you get minions and resources, and that allows you to place towers. And you need one minion, and right now just 20 resources to place a tower. So you've got angels and demons that appear. If you kill an angel, you get resources, and if you kill a minion, you get, or if you kill a demon, you get a minion. And the idea is if the angels get to the gate, then they will steal or they'll save one of your minions. And if you don't have any available, it would like destroy one of your towers. And if you kill a minion, you get a new minion. If you kill an angel, you get a new more resources. And so you can see if I don't have enough minions or resources and I try to click, nothing happens. Obviously, this game is not very well balanced at all because I just completely wiped these guys out. But I could easily fix all that. But it's more like the mechanics that I wanted to show of how all this is done. So you can see there's these little places where you can put something down, and if you just hover over it, the tower appears, but it won't actually shoot unless you actually place it. And placing is just done by clicking. So, and I had some debug stuff going on because I was having some trouble with the placement that I didn't get rid of. So, okay, so here's just the base. Let's go through the script here. So in the script, we've got this character array, which is an array. This is an array of, or wait, this is the, yeah, level base. Is that right? I thought that was in the tower. Let's see. Maybe I don't, if I get rid of that, what happens? Oh no, that's okay. Okay, so this character array, this is the array that stores the potential things that could be spawned. So each of these angel scenes and each of the demon scenes. That's what that is. And then the new character just spawns from that. So in ready, we've got a spawn timer, and we add that to our tree. We set that to one shot because every time, like I'm changing the time every time, as I'll get to in a minute. It's got the signal that's the timeout, and it connects to this on spawn timer timeout. And then it starts. We build up the array to build up the angel scenes. I'll go through those in a second. And then I've got a auto-loaded globals thing, and it just sets how many things are going to be spawned. And right now it's 10. Then I've got this tower grid. These are those little placement guide circles, each of these. So I just iterate over those, and just each of those has a signal that is tower placed, which is like clicking on it. So when a tower is placed, it emits that signal, and then it jumps down to this on tower placed method. So just to start with on that, when a tower is placed, we just decrease the minion count and decrease the resources. And right now that's just tied to 20. I would, if I were to expand on this, I would go through and make different towers cost different amounts of resources, that sort of thing. Let's see, on the spawn timer timeout, if there's still characters to spawn remaining, then we spawn a random character, which is just done right here. So it's just choosing a variable within the array. It just loads that character, that scene. So that's down here. Then it spawns it. it adds it. These guys are driven. These guys have a path follow to the parent node that follows this path 2D, this like green arrow. That's the path 2D in this scene. So I'll show how Godot does that in just a second. This time offset, it's just like a random time of either between negative 1.5 and 1.5. So we've got the spawn time plus this time offset. So this is 3 seconds by default. So it can range from anywhere from 1.5 seconds to 4.5 seconds. And then we've just spawned a character, so we decrease the character count. And that's kind of it for the level. So let's go to how this placing towers work, because I was thinking about this for a while and I couldn't really think of a good way to do it, and then I finally got some inspiration this morning on how to do it, so I just did it. So I've got a placement guide scene, as you can see in here. All of these are placement guides, and they're just instances of this placement guide scene. So that is a mesh, which if I hide this collision shape, it's that red sort of like transparent mesh. And then it's got an area 2D and the collision shape, which you can see right here. And then the area 2D has these signals connected. So there's the input event, which is basically like a mouse click, mouse entered, and mouse exited. So let's kind of walk through that. So so it's also got this orb tower scene. Let me just pull that up really quick. So here's the orb tower scene. You can see it's got the mesh for, or the sprite for the tower, and then a notification area. And I'll walk through exactly how that works, but all you really need to know is that it's got, you know, the whole tower that like will shoot at things. So if I go back into the script, when the mouse enters this area, this is called, and if it's not occupied, so occupied starts as false, then you just make the actual tower that exists there visible, but you modulate it to be sort of transparent. And then you take the red mesh and just modulate it to completely transparent so you can't see it anymore. Then when you move the mouse out, if it's not occupied, then it makes the tower visible or invisible, so it sets visible to false, and it just self-modulates back to its original value. I just hard-coded it because I was having trouble getting the actual value to work correctly. So let's just see again how that works. So when I run this, when the mouse enters, the tower appears, but it won't actually shoot at anything yet because I haven't actually clicked on it. And then when I move out, the red little orb reappears. So the way we actually place is handled by this onArea2D input event. And I say if it's not occupied and we have enough minions, so get minion count is greater than 0 and resource count is greater than 19. So I made each resource count 20, or resource be worth 20. So as long as it's greater than 19, then you can place something. So if the event is input event mouse button, so right now either button will work. I could make it, you know, only the left mouse button, for example, but you know, again, this was just kind of quick and hacked together. So this sets occupied to true. So that makes the orb visible. The modulate is set to 255, so it's completely visible. The state is then set to states ready. So I'll go through that next. And then this signal is emitted, which keep in mind, when that signal is emitted, that is tethered to level base. So this tower placed connect, and that decreases the globals. Now it could have been done in the actual tower, but I kind of wanted a central place to take care of all that. So let's go back to the tower scene, this orb tower. The orb tower actually extends this tower base, which is one of these 3 towers. And that has its own script, so the tower base. And I don't think I actually add anything for the orb tower, like in addition. I think it's literally just this tower base. So let's go through this code now. So I made this a state machine, which I really like to do for characters. It just helps me keep track of things. So I have an idle state that it starts in. This is the state before you've actually placed the tower. So it starts in idle. So when it's in this placement guide and when you can actually see it, it starts in the idle state, which just keeps it from doing anything. It literally just makes it so that it appears on the screen when you put your mouse in this area. So let's go back into the code. And let's see, we've got a cooldown timer for when the tower's shooting at the characters. So that's connected to the on cooldown timer timeout. That transitions between shoot and cooldown states. So in process, it just says if state is equal to shoot, then if the target array size. So this target array stores each of the characters that the tower has seen in its notification area. So I'll go through that in a second, but basically if that array is greater than 0, then it just shoots at the one that's in front. And we could make it so that it shoots at like the middle one or shoots at the one in the back. We could change all sorts of different behavior. We could give the user the ability to toggle that behavior if we wanted to get really fancy. But right now it's just shooting at the one that's in the very front. So what happens when the notification area is entered? Well, I assigned each of the angels and demons to just a characters group. So let's take a look at that really quick. So if I look at, say, this angel, and if I go to node and then groups, generally the character body is in characters, and then each of the angels is also in the group angels. So go back to the tower. So if the area, which is the area of the character, which is kind of confusing, but instead of using bodies, I used areas for the characters. So if the area is in group characters, then we add that area to the target array. And then this is just some like type checking or sanity checking just to prevent errors. So if area has signal dead, we connect that to on character dead. And I'll go through that in just a second. But basically, if the character escapes and isn't dead, so if the body or if the area, the character leaves the notification area, as long as it's in group characters, we iterate through the array to find it. And then as long as the index points to something that's actually in the array, so if it's greater than -1, then we just remove it from the array at its position. And I've tested this and it actually works. And you can see the game runs really smoothly. So this whole thing could be done way more efficiently, but because the array is pretty small, it works just fine just doing it this way and linearly searching the array for it. And basically the same thing happens on if the character is killed. So on character dead, this is a signal emitted by the character. So let's see. Oh yeah, when it enters, as long as it has that signal, we tie that to the on character dead function. So we connect it. So if that signal is emitted, then we again search the array for it and then remove it at its index. Shoot at, this is, for some reason, it like using just the body's own global position wasn't working. I had to get the parent's position. And that's why I had this debug thing. I was trying to figure out what was going on there. But basically, from the tower's position or its parent's position, which, let's see, tower. It's kind of weird that that works. Oh, I guess I had to get it because it's from the placement guide instead of its own. I don't know why it didn't work from its own global position. Actually, I think it was because of something going on with the target position. But when I was printing this out, it was showing some weird value, and I don't know why that was happening. So anyway, when we get this, it all works. It shoots from the tower to the target, which is the character in the front of that array. So we spawn a projectile, which is one of those little orbs. We set its direction and set its position, which are functions that I wrote, and then we start the cooldown timer and we transition to the cooldown state. When that times out, as long as the array is greater than 0, we go to shoot. Otherwise, we should go to ready, not idle. And then let's see, when we place the tower, it goes to ready. Yeah, okay. So there's that. So that's the tower. I can show the orb really quick. Let's see, there's a projectile base that extends. It's got a damage, speed, animation player, and a direction. So when it starts, it just sets it to true, or the visibility to true. When it spawns, we set the direction like I just showed. So direction equals this direction that we just set. And then in physics process, we set the velocity x and velocity y using cosine and sine of the direction, and then just move and slide. The animation player, this is just an animation that was included in it. It just makes the thing like kind of spin, so that's pretty cool. Set position, this is just the global position equals the position of the tower. So it starts at the tower and flies in the direction it was shot. The way I did collision was I just said for the characters, if they are hit by an orb, they ask the orb, hey, what's your damage value? And this returns the damage value. So damage is actually handled by the player. Or the characters. So if I look at the character base now, these have like states of idle, which really is not used. Follow path up, right, left, and down. That's just to help with the animations. Dying, and then if they hit the gate. So let's see, they start in follow path up because the path starts up. So that's just a quick way to get them to move up. Let's see. Just got lost. Okay. So they start in that and they animate. And these guys are pretty simple as far as the animations that they have. The basic one just has 4 animations, or 5, I guess. So it's walk down, it's just like 2 frames. It just goes between them really, really fast. So walk down, walk left, walk right, and walk up. And then when they die, they kind of float upward, which you can't see because I have a function that's just float up. I'll show that. Float up, it's just a tween, and it just makes them go upwards 30 pixels. Nothing too fancy. So there's that in process. If they're dying, then you play the die. You await the animation finished, and you just queue free. Easy. As long as, well, let's see, if the progress ratio, so this progress ratio is basically the progress along the path 2D. So progress ratio is just how much of the path they have finished. So if they progress to the point of completed greater than or equal to 1, as long as their health is 0, then they start hitting the gate. I was going to do something where they like beat on the gate and the gate loses health and eventually you lose that way. I just didn't get that far. If I come back to this, I might do something with that, but that's all that's going on. Otherwise, if the state is one of these 4, they just, so progress is Godot's way of measuring progress, again, along the path for a path follow node. So this is progress plus equals speed times delta. So their speed is just 100. I just set it to that. Delta is, of course, the time between frames. So this progress says, okay, move along the path this much, this frame. So that's what actually makes them move and follow the path. Let's see, position delta. Oh, this is a way of keeping track of whether they are moving left, right, up, or down. So if the position delta, so this is where they are right now, having moved by this much, and this old position is set at the very end of this. So that's just sort of like a, here's where they start, or here's their previous position. So this delta chain checks how far they have moved from their old position. So if their X movement is greater than their Y movement, then that means they either move left or right. So we say if delta X is less than 0, then they're moving left. Otherwise, they're moving right. And otherwise, if position Y is greater than position delta X, then they're either moving up or down. So we check the Y for less than 0. And because of the way Godot works, upwards Y is negative, downwards Y is positive. So if the delta Y is less than 0, then they're moving up. Otherwise, they're moving down. So that's how we set those different states. So if they're following the path left, then we play walk down. Or I'm sorry, if they're following the path down, then we play walk down. If they're following it left, we play walk left. If they're following it right, we play walk right. And if they're moving up, then we play walk up. So that makes the animations work. Okay, this take damage. I think this is called by the orb. Let's see, projectile base. Oh no, it's actually, no, that's not right. If we go back to character base in 2D, it's this character body entered, on body entered. So this is for the character body area. This is a method, or the script that's only tied to their area, not to the character base itself. So it's basically if on body entered body, so this is the orb, and if the body has method get damage and is in group projectiles, then we say get parent has method take damage, so that's our character base. Then we say get parent dot take damage, body dot get damage. So we get the damage from the orb and pass it to the take damage method of the character. So that means we take health minus equals damage. If health minus equals 0 and not dying, then we transition to the dying state. Then we check if it's in the group angels, we add resources 20. Otherwise, if it's in demons, we add a minion. And then we just admit that it's dead. Which I think that was tied to the level, and that is what adds either, well, why do we admit dead? I forget. I forget, but I think I talked about that earlier. And then health changed, admit, and let's see, I think that was tracked somewhere else. Oh, I think I was going to tie this into a UI and give each of them a little health bar, but I never actually ended up doing that, so I don't think that does anything. And then, like I said before, float up, that's when they're dying. It just floats up. So there's that. Let's see, there's also the UI, which is very basic. It's got just the character count, the minion count, and the resource count. So again, if I play this, you can see there's the characters left, minions, and resources. If I place a resource, the minion count goes down and the resources go down. And then if I kill a character, yeah, so I just killed demons, so I get more demons. Let's see, so I just killed some angels so that the resources go up. So basically, the UI is just listening for changes to these in globals. So when these change, the signals are emitted, and so then we just update the UI. That's pretty easy. Let's take a look at our globals. Globals, we've got the character count, minion count, resource count, those signals that we just took a look at. This is called at the very beginning set characters, and it's just 10 for right now. When a character dies, we call decrease character, or I'm sorry, no, when a character is spawned, we decrease the character count. Get characters, that's called by the UI, or could be to get the how many characters are left. When a minion, when you spawn a tower, you call decrease minion count. When you kill a demon, you call add minion. And you can do get minion count just to check, can I actually spawn a tower? Decrease resources, that is if you place a tower. Add resources, that's if you kill an angel. And get resource count, that's to check, can I place a tower? And I think that's kind of it. So hopefully that made sense. If you have any questions about any of this, please feel free to leave a comment and ask. If I forgot to go over something, let's see, I went over that, I went over that, 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 over that, over that, went over that. Yeah, I think I covered everything. Let me just take a quick spin through each of the characters. So like I already showed that they've got this animation. They've got a area for their body area that I called it, which is kind of confusing. That's tied to on body entered for the for if they are hit by a projectile. I showed their groups. Let me show a demon character just to show the difference. They're in demons and in characters. They've got the sprite, the collision shape. Yeah, I think that's everything. There's this little warning here that just says, oh, a path follow 2D only works if it's set as a child of a path 2D. The way I'm handling that, I think I showed, was spawn random character. I'm adding that to the path 2D add child, so that makes sure that that works. So if I run this really quick once again, we will see, let me go to remote, when and character is spawned, you can see there's demons. Oh, and I'm good. So you can see here they're popping up. So you can see that that's where they're appearing, is under the path, and that's how they're able to follow it. So hopefully that all makes sense. Again, if you have any questions about how any of this works, please feel free to leave a comment. Go ahead and like the video if you liked it, if it helped you, and otherwise I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.